Hey, welcome to Fake Deep Thinking, just a group of guys talking about a bunch of bullshit. Today we have with us John.
No, we're gonna call it bullshit no more.
Well, I haven't worked out how we're gonna
Shit.
call it.
What's up, guys?
Doc
Yo, what's good?
and myself, Eugene.
We
I mean, if you
gonna
want to
fuck
help
that
me,
shit
if you want to help me write up a new
We
intro,
gonna
you can
fuck
definitely
it.
help me.
Man, it's one word. Rewrite an intro. It's one word. Come on, guys.
All right, so I thought we'd go into, since we got jokes, might as well share those jokes with the Jake Paul and Ben Askren fight. I don't know why I keep butchering his last name.
It is kind of weird.
So-
Askren.
Askren, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That's how I have to say it mentally. Askren. What did he say? I don't know.
Askren.
Askren.
So the fight only lasted like 2 minutes, and John made a funny point to me yesterday. Was it didn't even look like Ben even wanted to like fight, because when we went into weigh-ins, and this was shocked me, the picture of Ben, let me pull it up right here. He's got a straight dad bod, dude. He didn't even prepare for this.
At all.
He looks like he won a contest. Like they brought him on down. They're like, Ben Askren, come on down. He was like, oh shit, me.
And then here comes Jake Paul. Yeah, he's all up in his face, like
What
extra.
the fuck is that robot thing?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just extra part of his, I guess. I don't even know
His
what
persona?
It is. Yeah,
Or
I
something
guess.
like that?
Yeah, I don't even know. Let's go with persona. That makes more sense.
No, it was just something weird because his persona is the problem child, and I don't see how that robot fits a child.
Well, I was just
Actually, now that you say that, I kind of see it.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, you're like, he's a problem child, and he's got a robot. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of childish shit. I can
in
see
the
that.
back behind him, just
Oh, you see it on the pants? Problem child.
Is that what
He
that
looks like a
says?
Tekken character.
On his trainer.
Was
Look at his trainer's pants. Right when they walk up, you'll see it.
Oh, it says right there.
Problem child.
Problem child. Yep, gotcha. I didn't even know that's like his actual brand. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I like the name.
Does the other guy, does Jake Paul, does his say Team Real?
Where do you see that?
No, it says
On his like,
Team Paul.
Oh, Team Paul. No, yeah, that says
Oh,
Team
Team
Paul.
Paul.
Team
I thought it
Paul,
said
and then on
Team
his
Real.
trainer's problem child. Yeah. Nah,
his trainer looks like he's playing laser tag.
I'm not gonna lie. This whole thing is pretty dope. I'm not even gonna lie.
I like the outfit.
Yeah,
Like
it's
for fighting.
yeah, it's dope. It's just I thought it was a very funny point John made. He doesn't even look like he came prepared to fight.
At all. If anything needs to be said on this, I'd actually watch Stephen A. Smith
Oh gosh.
speak on the state of the affairs about this fight. Stephen A. Smith did not hold any words. He said, "Now that man should be ashamed of himself."
Ben, right?
Yeah, he said that man should be ashamed of
Yeah.
himself.
Yeah.
He
Even if
showed-
it was for the money, dog.
He
Like,
said
whoa.
He showed up and
That's fucked up.
collected
That's
that
like-
check and left. That there's no way. He
How
said
much
he
money
owes the-
was it
He
though?
only got $500K.
I mean, okay.
I mean,
For the level of rock he got, 500K.
Yeah.
Is a bit more.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I get it. I mean, but he has fighting schools. Like, this is a very decorated MMA fighter. So it's just,
Oh, Ben Askren's
Is
an
he?
MMA fighter?
y'all kidding, right?
No, I really don't know who Ben Askren is.
Yeah, I was asking Gene
Oh, for
this
real?
earlier.
Oh, wow. This man, he's the one who got kneed by
Benjamin Michael Askren is an American retired professional mixed martial artist and amateur wrestler. I
Olympics.
just thought he was just a wrestler.
No. This
thought he was
guy's
just
an
a wrestler.
Olympic decorated wrestler. He's won belts in MMA. This man is
Yeah,
Khabib
he
is the
was
one
the
who,
former Bellator and one welterweight champion before competing in Ultimate Fighting Championship.
Khabib, y'all know that flying knee?
Yeah.
That was him.
Yeah, I remember it.
He's the one who got
Okay.
the knee. So he was at the top of the fighting ring recently. That knee was not too long ago. The Khabib knee.
Now, because when I first saw the fight, because I was with Doc. Doc asked, "Is this just another YouTuber?" I was like, "I don't know, maybe."
Oh wow!
Now this
he has wrestling academies, like world-renowned fighter.
What was he doing then? Because
Collecting a check.
literally, I said to Doc, like, I think it was just that he was out of his element. Like, he's a wrestler,
No,
only a wrestler. That was my perspective. He was only a wrestler.
He's knocked
and he was
people
in
out
the
in MMA.
boxing ring.
he's won some fights by knockout.
Look at that former UFC player or like picture on the side, he actually looks in better shape there than he does in the fight.
That's why I went. That's why I want to go to the pictures of him, see if we can get some like an older picture of him, like actually
No,
in shape.
He was never a workout warrior. Like his body's always been like natural. Obviously, he's let himself go since he retired, but
Yeah.
he was never
It was-
like
he's-
he was never
there has to
ripped.
be a
you
level
know
of
what I'm saying?
conditioning
Yeah,
though.
yeah,
Still, like
100%.
because his body in that weigh-in did not look conditioned.
Not at all.
Well,
but then
this guy is also. Now that you point him out, and I've seen him in like pictures of like the way he's dressed in UFC, like this guy actually had like the Logan Paul personality in the UFC.
100%.
That's why that guy fucking flying kneed him from the get go because he was annoyed by him.
But now that makes this even worse in my eyes because that knockout punch here. Let me go to the minute when he gets knocked out here. I think it's coming up here in a couple minutes. It didn't. I don't know. I guess I'm overestimating mixed martial arts, and it didn't seem like it was
A
that.
heavy punch.
Yeah.
I'll say that I agree with you, but those mitts, bro, those gloves, it changes a lot.
That's what I'm saying.
I
Or are you
think they
saying
are
like
lighter.
makes it less of a punch or more of a punch?
More.
Oh, really?
No,
It
yeah,
knock
yeah,
you
because
out.
they go in with lighter. Yeah,
Yeah, they
I
have
don't know if those are
smaller
8
gloves.
ounces. But
Yeah.
they go in with lighter ones.
Those do not look like. Yeah, those are lighter. And I ain't gonna lie, Jake got some strength to it. Okay. And the problem really isn't that Ben gets knocked out. The problem is that they called the fight.
It's because look at it. I was talking with Di. Like he's kind of wobbling here, like, and then it looks like he's hunched over like Doxson. I agree. He looks like he's drunk.
I mean, I just don't think he has proper boxing form.
Yeah.
Like look at him right
his
there.
Body, like his
Like,
body just doesn't look like he's supposed to be boxing. But I would like y'all to. There's a fight that he won. Okay.
All right, look it up.
Yeah, please look it up. Ben. He takes 15 elbows to the face and still turns this fight around and wins.
You know
it.
who?
Ben Askren. No, just type in elbows to face.
All right, Ben Askren, elbows to face.
Oh, everything's gonna be Jake Paul now, huh? Fucking hell, Jake. Fucking
Oh, I didn't
hell.
know there was a smack during a face.
Yeah, he put his hands in his face and then Jake punched him in the stomach really quickly. Light punch, whatever. But nah, Ben Askren, I've seen like there's footage of him his fights going around.
All recent stuff. I don't see anything old
And
about the fights.
He took 15 elbows to the face. The ref didn't call the fight. He turns the fight around and wins the fight.
So
and
the ref called it way too early.
It's not even that. I don't know the rules about boxing, so I guess I have to just respect whatever it is. But to see him go from that and then it seemed to be so affected by the Jake Paul punch was the stark contrast. Like, I don't know. It just makes me seem like it was a little rigged to me. But I don't know.
I think it just goes down to what you said. Stephen A. Smith said he just went in there to collect a paycheck and leave. I don't think he really respected Jake Paul like that enough to give him the time of day for an actual fight, even though it still looks bad on Askren's part, I'd argue.
I agree, but he got knocked out.
Yeah, no,
And I don't believe he got knocked out to that extent, though, is my problem.
I don't think
even if he did come there to collect a check, how much effort did he put into not falling in the first place? How much effort did he put into, you know what I'm saying?
Did he flop?
I didn't even see him throw a punch.
That's what I was telling Gene, because after a while, like, you can see him kind of bobbing and weaving some good throws by Paul, and then eventually, like, Logan Paul just he's not scared of him because he's not doing anything. So he just starts throwing stuff at him.
Yeah.
And then
that's when he lands that hook.
And then the one thing all boxers that have watched the Logan Paul fight, they just say, watch his overhand right.
Yeah.
Zab Judah spoke on it. Mike Tyson has spoken on it. Watch his overhand right. He's a big kid. He's not small. He's stocky. Watch that overhand right, and that's what knocked him out.
Yeah.
It's just, boy. Fight a real boxer now. Now that's the only thing left. Fight a real boxer, because all this shit, I don't want to watch this shit no more.
Yeah, he's been fighting a bunch of people who have been retired or just like
athletes.
Old. Yeah, they're athletes, but they're exactly.
Like, they're all retired athletes or YouTubers. So,
fight a boxer. But that's his ambition or goal, right? He wants to get into. Yeah, like he wants to get into that. Like he wants that respect or acknowledgement.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, has he earned technically that?
No, he's earned the respect of his gym.
Okay.
So like he's worked on this craft now for 2-3 years repetitively. So if you care that he's done that or you believe that he's done it, then yeah, he gets your respect. But as far as like the boxing world, community. He doesn't have the respect of them. But I'm pretty sure if you're in the gym and you see him putting in that work every day, you're in his gym, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got something, da-da-da. But as far as, like, Mayweather, like, anybody training under Mayweather, no. Like, Gervonta Davis, no. Errol Spence, no. Like, heavyweight champions, like, who is this kid? He
kind of is like that rich kid that, like, is training and stuff like that, but he's gonna go train with the poor kids that are actually busting their balls because they have to, like, this is their life and that's what they have to stick to. So if he can win those kids over, or like not kids, but like those men over in boxing and stuff like that, then I think he'll actually build a strong name for himself.
If he's serious, he'll ride the amateur circuit for a little bit. If he's serious about earning his respect, he doesn't have an amateur fight under his belt.
Because I guess this is showing my naiveness or ignorance, is these fights wouldn't be classified as amateur fights?
No, exhibitions.
Okay, fair. Okay, yeah.
I actually even think that the rules are changed because they're exhibitions.
100%.
I think they're shorter.
The rounds are shorter. Like, there's a lot of...
Ring smaller.
Glove
that
size.
Ring did look small.
Glove size.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of things that go into a difference between, professional exhibition. So, yeah, he can do all this chirping, but... He literally knows, like, his next match is going to be his greatest test because he's going to have to put somebody in front of him that's, like, undeniable.
Because everyone's argument, as we were just saying, like, they're a bunch of, like, retired old, like, they're athletes.
You have 3 years on all these guys.
Yeah.
Of training.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Except for Ben, dude. Ben, I don't know what you got going on, bro. Wish the best for you and your family, your children.
What do you mean? They're 500. They got $500 more. Thousands. They're,
I mean... He was a UFC fighter. I'm pretty sure he was champion, Olympic medal. I'm pretty sure his schools are doing extra well if you're an Olympic medal wrestler.
Yeah.
If anything, I'd watch that and be like, unenroll. Hey, you're not going to that. You're not going to his class no more, little Johnny.
I actually think that, that's going to be the fallout from it. Because if you see your
like, what am I
like,
learning? You got beat by nobody.
And if, like, I'm not going to lie, dude, like that. Jake Paul's a punk, man. So I'm just like, bro, you got beat by a punk. Like, come on, man. Like,
yeah, I agree with that. He really is a punk.
You got beat by a thug. Disney thug.
You got beat by a problem child, bro. Come on.
Fucking Disney thug. That's exactly what he got. Look at Jake's face, bro. His face doesn't even have features to give him emotion. Jake Paul's face does not have enough features for him to emote via face. Even his little and that was a reference to Conor McGregor when he got up there in his underwear and he started screaming and doing all that. He was mimicking what Conor McGregor did. Which is just still. Why are we still talking about Jake Paul, dude?
I was about to say
he was trying it. Why hasn't he fought McGregor yet? Does McGregor just not want to fuck
McGregor
around?
lost his last fight, and so Jake Paul offered him $50 million to fight. And then after McGregor lost his last fight, Jake Paul offered him a Bitcoin. So I'll fight you for 1 bit.
That's funny.
So now McGregor would have to work his hype
like
up.
Doc said, what a freaking punk.
Yeah.
All right, let's get
the video was hilarious.
Yeah. Let's get away from Jake Paul. All right. So what I kind of wanted to talk about, if you want to get into this, maybe this might tie into what I want to talk about, is I kind of want to talk about a little bit of the kind of the dating life, because there's been a surge in the Kevin Samuels community. Because I think you pointed out to me like a year ago before the pandemic started, Kevin had like, 200,000 subscribers or less, something like that?
Something.
Yeah, something like less than 200,000 subscribers. And then now he's at like,
700,
800, close to it.
Mm-hmm.
And if y'all don't know who Kevin Samuels is, he has a podcast, a channel where
he's a big-handed human being, first and foremost.
Oh, yeah, his hands are huge.
His hands are fucking ridiculously big.
Yeah, they're ginormous.
Like that big that you have to stop the podcast?
No, they were big. Like I remember me and Gene were watching, and we were like, holy fucking shit, dude, look at his hand. Like a smack from Kevin Samuel might change your mind.
Just a simple fact that he puts that hand up to threaten you with a slap. He's like, whoa.
Calm down.
Hold on. Let's think this through real quick. Let's talk it out.
That's not classy. You're wearing all these suits and shit.
Not a very good image since you're an image consultant over here.
You change your image with that slap. I'm telling you.
So, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jock. Wow, Jock, I don't know where that came from.
No, me and Doc, we became one human being.
I was about to say.
Yeah, we did. We did.
We fucking did.
We did do
the
this
fucking
thing
fusion dance.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's funny.
We became Jock.
Jock.
So correct me if I'm wrong when it comes to my okay, Jacques. Jacques, make sure y'all correct me if I'm wrong with my description of Kevin Samuels and his platform. So it seems like he's built his community to not necessarily negatively critique women, but to at least have some kind of discussion, dialogue when it comes to their expectations in the dating life.
Correct. But
I'll try to be as fair as possible because Kevin Samuels can be kind of brutal in his opinion sometimes.
I'll say this. Kevin Samuels doesn't lean on talking about women.
Yes, he's very fair.
Women approach him on the conversation.
Yes.
So it's
he's just taking advantage of it because they're willing to get on his podcast.
He shuts down men as well.
Oh, I've seen it on the Auburn Preach episode.
I'm just saying for the people.
Yeah.
Because I don't want them
he's
to
not a
feel
woman
like
hater. Exactly. I don't think he's a woman hater.
Well, he might be hurt.
He might be hurt. I've said that before too. Like it seems like he's got a little bit of a hurt past. He's letting leak a little bit sometimes when he has these discussions. Because it's like you don't need to say it like that, or you it seems like you're losing patience a little bit too easily.
You know what it is? Kevin Samuels strikes me as the guy who are the ladies that teach women manners?
Etiquette or
etiquette teachers, right?
Something like that, yeah.
This is gonna sound wild, Gene, but it makes perfect sense. Kevin Samuels got touched when he was a little kid by an etiquette teacher.
Explain.
That's not where I thought you were going with that.
Because like his whole character and demeanor is like the woman who hurt him had to have been so sophisticated, so like bourgeois that it would have had to be like an etiquette teacher, in my opinion. Like it doesn't make sense. It had to be somebody who was just so, I don't know, like Kevin Samuels just strikes me as somebody who doesn't even want people to touch him. Like, why are you touching me? Why are you speaking to me? Why are you in my presence? And so for a woman to
like I'm wasting
hurt
my
him,
time even, yeah.
I just feel like that woman would have, like, for example, for a woman to actually get under my skin and my nerves, she'd probably have to be hella bougie. Like, to hurt my feelings, had to be hella bougie and just talk to me in a way that was, like, really crazy. But for Kevin Samuels, probably something similar. I just don't see him being hurt by a regular female and then ending up wearing suits for the rest of his life.
So let me finish painting up the topic. And so Kevin Samuels in his community right there. And then there seems to be a rise in a similar community, and that's the Fresh and Fit podcast, who kind of parrot Kevin Samuels' talking points and opinions.
I know you were going to bring them up.
Well,
no, you go. You're right. I hate them so much.
Because so let me finish up here, tie it all together, is for a decade, there has been this narrative that toxic masculinity, right? Men can be toxic. Certain things with masculinity it's toxic, and that definition has gotten broader and broader.
Correct.
And now to tie into points you've made several times about several topics is we can't help but overcorrect sometimes, and it seems like we're reaching a point that we're now overcorrecting when it comes to men in the dating community. Because my issue when it comes to Kevin Samuels and the Fresh and Fit podcast, when it comes to them and their shared opinions of the women in the dating community, is I feel like they stop halfway with their points because they're trying to take advantage of some of the how do I say this? I don't know if it's take advantage, but they're trying to build men up without actually instilling a level of accountability and responsibility, if that makes sense. I don't think that's the right way to characterize it, but
they're the other side of They're the other side of the incel community. So, for example, like the way women would take advantage, not even incel, simp community. So what they're doing is they're creating male simps for themselves. And like
male simps for males.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with that.
It's like instead of simping, like there's always anti-culture.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for whatever it is. So to me, this is the anti-culture for simping for women. And so what you have here is men playing off the same insecure men, but we're giving them a level of mental freedom by telling them they're being manipulated by somebody else, but we're actually manipulating them by telling them that.
I agree
so we're
with that.
building trust with, you're building a trust in me because I have saved you, or I have put myself in a way that I'm not trying to take advantage of you mentally like this person is, but I am, because I'm actually using you by rescuing you mentally from that area. I'm putting you in a place that just you're becoming another voice in my echo chamber.
Mm-hmm.
So now just forego your thinking and feel comfortable in your insecurities. So like I've had this problem with women all the time, and and I'm not saying the problem is women. I'm saying I've personally had this problem with women, where they try and set the parameters of us dating based off their insecurities. You know what I'm saying? And so like when I engage on something or do something, they may not want to interact that way, which is cool, but then they also have a problem with me kind of doing my own thing, or they have a problem with me kind of accepting that and moving on and not wanting to participate. So like if a girl says, I don't like scary movies because I saw a scary movie when I was a kid. Now you can't watch scary movies, right? With the girl. The girl would get mad that I went to go watch a scary movie on my own.
You're not changing up for her pretty much.
No, I'm not changing up for her. And it's based off, so it's like, there's definitely space for Fresh and Fit and Kevin Samuels and what they're talking about.
Space.
But the voice of reason should be objective and almost more in search of like actual understanding, rather than they're giving them an enemy, and they're making their enemy people that they really won't really interact with on a regular basis, honestly speaking. And you don't have to, because the girls that you have on the Fresh and Fit, the girls that you have on Kevin Samuels that just don't get it, or the men, regardless of the sex or the gender, those people aren't the...
So let me give an example, I guess, as to why I bring this up. And my critique is more so with Fresh and Fit than Kevin Samuels.
100%.
Because Kevin Samuels, when he tries to explain his points, he's trying to specifically say, based off what you're looking for, this is a possibility in this, you need to be aware of this. Where I feel like with Fresh and Fit, they're saying, like, this is what men should become. Because they actually advocate, like, we're trying to help grow men to achieve this 10 to 20% of a top-tier men, whatever they say. Without taking consideration some of the things they're advocating, I would argue, don't make a top-tier man. Even if you are making six figures, even if you are 6 foot, good-looking, dressed like blah, 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 that's not a top-tier man.
I completely agree.
My example for that is, I think his name is Myron. Myron's argument that men don't cheat, women cheat. And that's because men and women show commitment differently. And he says women show commitment through their fidelity, and men show commitment through their sharing of their resources. You know, security, protection, paying for their like car, food, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, no, dude, that's still cheating. I agree with you that men and women show commitment differently. But if there wasn't a discussion beforehand about the relationship between you guys, and it was monogamous, and there wasn't already, like, you didn't tell them that you're going to be with other people, it's monogamous and you cheat, just be like, no, it's still cheating. Like, I feel like you're trying to justify your lifestyle at this point.
Your psychological nature should not affect right and wrong.
I completely agree with that.
Like, right and wrong is right and wrong.
Yeah,
and so even if there's a million years history of men doing this thing, and you say, well, look, they can't help it. Well, the action, if it's murder, it's still murder. Like, I just don't get it. Like, so I'm right there with you, especially when he speaks. I know the one you're talking about, Frank Castle. Mm-hmm. And it's all from in my opinion, I don't know. I'm not one to judge, and I don't like anybody saying they're here to do anything for a whole community. Like, we're here to raise men and make men better. Well, then you're also setting a limit. Because the limit is what you can do for me. We're only going to go as far as you take us. Like, it's just so much ego in that sentiment of, I'm here, we're here, we got to do, what do you, like, I don't know. It's just a lot of ego in it to me. I don't like people who date with ego. I don't like people who speak with ego. I don't like people who
completely
speak
agree. And
with
they
pride.
exude ego to me.
It's just too much. It's too much. And so, for example...
because I feel like when it comes to the dating world, what will benefit both us, men and women, is higher quality men and higher quality women. But the problem is I feel like we're doing the stupid dance of men are toxic, women are toxic. Men are toxic, women are toxic. Because like I said before, we went through 10 years of toxic masculinity. Now, like I try to say with your points about us overcorrecting, now it seems like we're overcorrecting to like women are toxic. Go like let's be, I don't say necessarily women haters, but just fuck commitment. We're just going to sleep around.
The way the IRS started following OnlyFans is the men paying for the OnlyFans started reporting the girls. Yes.
Wait, what? How?
They started reporting that these girls
were probably not paying taxes. Like for example, the Snapchat girls, they were doing like selling their like subscriptions about before the OnlyFans came about. Girls were doing some kind of subscription based thing with their Snapchat, 18 plus only.
Private.
And yeah, exactly. And it got to a point where some people decided to turn these girls in, and they actually got a percentage of that money from turning themselves in.
Correct.
Well, I mean, they're technically independent contractors, so.
Yep.
I guess that's.
I'm just saying that's the level of toxicity we have in the dating pool, because chances are the people reporting them are the people who paid for the service. So it's just like that's currently what's going on. So yeah, I agree with you. It's just who's.
But I want to specify that even though I agree with a lot of the points they make, though. I guess that's my struggle with Kevin Samuels. Well, like I said, my main critique is the Fresh and Fit podcast. So I guess let me stick to that. So I agree with a lot of the points they make. Like, they make very good points about when it comes to the relationship between men and women in the dating community. Like, for example, when it comes to women's expectations of men, every time they have women on, they ask them what they look for in men. Almost, I don't want to say 100%, like 90% of the women on there say they want a man who earns more than 6 figures, a man who's 6 foot tall, and a man who looks nice.
That's not fair either, because they invite the people, first off.
Oh, completely true. I agree.
They invite a type to their podcast. And if you don't fit the type, they invite you thinking you're stupid. They invite the women thinking they're stupid, honestly speaking. And even when
they talk to them, you can tell they speak to them like they're stupid. It's very disrespectful. Yeah.
And then the way they actually get the women is Instagram. Fresh slides in DMs. Yeah, I want to come on the show? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, cool. Boom. The way it's already sleazy. So, like, any information they give as far as them being a sample size for anything that represents the dating pool or community is already fucked up, because they're knowingly searching for a type to feed their niche audience that they have. The men who feel like they need to save these women. I need to raise these women. And you've seen the comments on the Fresh and Fit. Yeah, like,
but they would argue that's not what they're trying to promote when it comes to their platform.
That's the only type of women they invite.
So do you think, though, that like they're also trying to tell men how to get this particular type of woman?
Yeah, they tell them. They said on a previous podcast, like, what we're trying to do. Them. Pretty much, yeah. Like, they tell if you want to get with these type of women, this is what they look for. They look for men who are fit, high earning, and tall. Obviously, like, you can't do anything about your height, so they help them work on their finances. They actually have a finance aspect of their platform. They teach them finances. And then I think Myron I don't know if he still does, has a fitness channel. He's trying to help them better themselves to actually, I guess, compete in the dating community. My only issue is, even though it's
pseudo help, though.
Yeah, like I agree with that. It's pseudo help.
He doesn't want to help anybody.
Because a lot of the things they're saying is just, I don't know, and I don't say necessarily wrong, but toxic. Like, you're not like.
It sounds like absolute, like it's just like absolutism, where it's just like, this is the way it is, man. Do you want it or not?
That's how he speaks.
Get it? Yeah.
That's exactly how he speaks.
So my I guess an example for that is his community loves this metaphor, and that's the candy shop metaphor, which is when women turn 18, they get access to the candy shop immediately, just instant access. They could go in, it's a metaphor for the sex, pretty much. So once they turn 18, they get to go into candy shop. They get all the candy they want, figure out what they like, don't like, instantly. Men have to wait, as he says, 10 to 15 years, build up a certain level of finances, usually 6 figures, and then build a level of fitness, of physicality before they can even get an option to go into the candy shop. And that's why, and he used that analogy for the explanation of that's why men sleep with a lot of women and women don't sleep with a lot of men.
Okay.
Because when they finally get in, they go nuts.
Stupid, because the reason it's stupid is because he's talking about access to the candy shop as if. Now, we agree on natural playing ground, a woman has an advantage based off of how our lust works.
Yes.
Now, when a man gets rich, we are the ones in control. So that candy shop metaphor is stupid.
Well, it comes down to the fact that we harp on women who manipulate us through the use of their sex appeal, right? It's wrong. Just like it's wrong for a man to use his finances and his status to manipulate women. I guess that's the root of my issue with their platform, is they're trying to justify the toxic side of the men's game. And not taking consideration like that's also bad.
Wrong.
That's wrong. We shouldn't be nurturing this and advocating for this. This is like, if you want to be a quote unquote a top tier guy, yes, high salary,
that's for yourself.
Fitness.
It should be for yourself.
For yourself, blah blah blah.
But it's out of spite almost.
Yes, it feels like they're nurturing a spiteful energy.
100%.
That's why
it sounds like the opposite of like the extremists who go into the like independent woman thing. Or to the point where it's just like, I can't even open the door for you because it's like you're so insecure about being independent that like it freaks you out. And I think it's the same thing for guys, where it's just like, dude, do you really have to make $1 million for you to be secure to think that women would want you?
Like, what is that? Like, what is that? Like, you, and he said, and then this is the hurt part. He said you have to be 6 figures tall and to get access to even go in the candy shop. Whereas women always had the access to the candy shop. I'll tell you what. I
was around that candy shop early on, navigating around for a while.
And I'll tell you what.
I realized I hate this candy shop.
But there's different ways to get in that bitch.
Yeah, there are different ways to get in there.
There's different ways to get in there.
And there's different candies, bro.
There's different, like, you do, like, so. As far as
but then one could argue saying, but because some guys, it's true, some guys don't get access to that candy shop till late. Like, some guys aren't as confident early on. Some guys, it's just things affect our confidence. Generally speaking, yes, men tend to get into the candy shop late in the game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of, I guess, unfair for guys like like us who haven't really had a problem when it comes to candy.
But this whole thing is just stupid because, look, man, like, it's just stupid, dude. What are you saying? Rich man is at top of the dating totem pole.
Yes.
100%.
Yep.
So the whole thing is stupid already because as soon as I'm not even the candy shop. I own the candy shop. Once I'm a man with money, I own the candy shop. And rejection for what? There's a price for that. Like, I'm not going to be worried about none of that. If I want it, I'll buy it. If I don't want it, I won't buy it. I'm desensitized to things. Sure. I'm pretty sure it's probably not healthy for me to look at things that way. But if I sincerely want things, then I can buy them. And then the things I can't buy, guess what? Then we have to stop talking about looks. We have to stop talking about the success thing. Because if I'm rich enough and the girl's still rejecting me, are you telling me it's not about my money? So then what does Myron do with that? What does Myron do with that? Because I'm pretty sure he's successful now. You think he doesn't get rejected at all? At all? So it's just stupid to me. Everything is so nuanced when it comes to dating and people. It's just weird to me how people always want to generalize. When always, everything. It's weird. It's fucking weirdo.
Because there are like, how I try to look at it, just trying to stick to the dating topic, is it's a bell curve.
Okay.
We have the left side of the bell curve, which is the bad side, the negative side, the toxic side. And this is the bell curve encompasses both men and women.
Okay.
So we got the toxic negative side of the bell curve. Then we got the general middle bell curve where we usually all fall into. Then we got the right side of the bell curve, which is, I guess where we're all kind of strive to be, which is the positive balance side.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the problem is because like I said before, we had a decade of toxic masculinity. It's heavily gone to the left side of the bell curve, and then slowly started to work back to the middle, giving men a little bit more, I guess, not power, but a voice finally. Their voice has gotten a little louder. Finally, we can speak up. And now that we're finally in the middle, we can speak up, Now we're falling right back to the negative side. Now it's our turn to say, toxic femininity, women this, y'all are not this, y'all don't know what you want, y'all are delusional, this that they always say, blah, blah, blah. It's just the disrespectful things they say about women. It's like, dude, you don't need to be doing all that to get your point across. At this point, you're using them as a stepping stone, and that's fucked up.
Like, those women on that podcast are being exploited.
Completely.
100%. 100%. And it's mutual, because depending on what their goals are, it's mutual depending on what their goals are. But you're boxing these women into a category no matter what, for your audience to look at them a certain type of way. You're
completely
cornering them in a certain type of way. So when it comes to that type of stuff, like all that verbal jutsu and like
exactly what that is,
like all that type of stuff, like it just doesn't do well with me. It doesn't play well.
I actually think it's a little weird too, because it kind of depends on like the type of mindset the people have. So like on the same topic, where I was like thinking about it, I was like, I'm around a lot of liberal women all the time, and to me, one of the big plights of being around liberal women is that, from what I've observed, I mean, I don't know for sure, or I can speak in generalizations of it, but I'm still going to do it because I'm just going to explain my observations, is that they're upset that the male patriarch commands them and they want to be free in their sexuality. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they want to be able to sleep with as much men as they want to be able to have that sexual freedom that men have, to be able to sleep with whoever they want without being judged for sleeping with whoever they want.
Yeah, and
is that right?
And they don't want to be slut shamed and stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm with you.
So I understand that. The paradox to me though is that
men love sluts.
Kind of, yeah, but like the sense of like
women that don't like sluts.
Like it's like men are already seen as being too sexually aggressive, and it's just like, wait, so if like the guy's too sexually aggressive but you want freedom and sexuality, they're kind of one and the same. It's just like the same coin with two different sides. So it's a little bit of a paradox, and that's kind of the weird part about it, because it's like you guys are saying, right? Like the roles as like they're, I guess, like perceived are that the women are the selectors and the males are the
protectors.
No, like they're more so like the engagers. Like they engage the woman decides to select or not, and if she doesn't, then you go and engage another woman.
I got you.
And you kind of keep going down like that until you eventually find someone who you never choose to leave again, as a man, or the woman never chooses to select another person. The moment the man abuses that option, he's a rapist. The moment the woman abuses her, power, she's a slut. And so everyone's kind of avoiding that. I think like in the liberal sense, like the women they want to be able to choose more than one without being called a slut. And but like that's the hard part though, because it's like for a man, it's like we almost have to stop engaging and just be like, just wait.
That's the power.
At that point.
That's why my question is: should we accept women as selectors, should society or men in general? I think that's a really big battle mentally for men.
I think so too, because the scary thing is like if you over-engage and like you run the risk of being called a rapist if you over-engage, and like that's at least like for me honestly, like that's my thing too. When I see certain like women, I'm just like, dude, I just don't want to fuck up, because that climate's intense. You know what I mean?
Bro, they got to throw that thing in my face for me to goddamn jump on it. I swear to God.
Because that's the safest approach, right? Especially if you're a cautious man. It's just like this is the safest thing you can do to not derail your fucking life if you've already built up all of this stuff. And I think at that point, like to the rich man, even though the man is valuable, I think the man makes difficult choices at that point. And I can actually understand why a man who's like super wealthy would just rather buy it. Because it's essentially a safe contract.
Exactly.
Where it's just like it's a business transaction.
Like,
trade. Here you
go. Something was exchanged both ways. No, I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you.
So I don't know. To me, like that's always been the kind of plight. To me, the ideal equal world would be that both people are just openly like sexual and embracing their sexualities and stuff like that. Men can achieve what they want. Women can achieve what they want. And they go into it, but that might kind of explode and crashing down at some point. So especially if like people want to settle down and stuff like that.
Because that right, but that's the biggest issue right there is the settling down part.
What do you mean? Oh, and then this is another thing. People are so insecure they can't forgive people's past. They can't accept people's past. So it's like, bro, honestly speaking, what we're talking about, we're talking in circles. There's no math for this shit. The way we're grooming each other, it just doesn't. It's not gonna work out.
Well, you're right.
It's just not gonna work out.
Well,
she used to have sex with many men. Well, I can't take that. I can't take that. Maybe the person may be awesome. They may have grown. They may have gone through whatever they went through, developed, may have helped them, may have made them worse, whatever it is. I'm one of those guys who believe, look, I've been depressed before. I believe you learn through pain. I believe you learn through trials and tribulations, whatever it is. You put them in your own face.
Struggles. Life's a struggle.
Life's a struggle. So, like, I'm just not big on the judging. So it's always allowed me to date whoever or talk to whoever I'm talking to without putting my insecurities on them or being bothered by any decision they make independent of me. So, like, I've always just been really big on that. And so, like...
That doesn't mean that you can't have preferences. Like, if you don't
I can have my preferences.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you don't want a woman who's been around, that's fine. But don't 100%. Treat her a certain way because she's been around.
Don't want her.
Yeah.
Just don't want her. Don't date her.
Yeah.
Don't date the girl and then yell at her all the time because she can't unfuck anybody. Guys can't you can't unfuck anybody. So, yeah, like, you got to head on right there. I just don't... To me, that's the best and most honest way you could date. And it's just yourself. Like, be cool with yourself at all times, independent of that person's actions. You don't own that person. And we're getting to a point now where we're so affected by what people do without us. It's fucking a shit show now. Like... So we're based off of the way things are going, people are going to struggle before they find who they're supposed to be with, who they feel they can be with. Do we tell them, look, get it right the first? Is that what we're telling them? You have to get it right immediately.
Get it right the first time, or else you're like
nobody's gonna want you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
nah, I kind of like the organic method, where it's just like I'm gonna be me and see what rolls.
Me. That's it.
What rolls out.
Like, Gene sees how I talk to man. Like, dude, I'm not rude, Doc, but like I'm me. I'm me 100%. If it doesn't make sense, like, sorry, podcast, I'll fuck up some sex mid blowjob if I hear some shit that does not make sense to me. I don't care. Like, oh, you just gonna mess. Yes. Why did you say that? It made no sense to me. Can we discuss it? And if we don't have sex, we don't have sex. But I'm going to say what I need to say. And that's just how it's going to be. And my partner's just going to have to be comfortable with that. Like, I just don't want it any other way. Right?
I guess before we change subjects, the one thing I guess I want to touch on is I don't know if it's the positive side of dating, because obviously men want something when it comes to dating and women want something when it comes to dating. Mm-hmm. And it seems like, to go back to, I guess, the Fresh and Fit podcast, they're not necessarily teaching men how to date. They're teaching men how to get laid. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's the big difference.
They're teaching them this is what it means to be desirable.
And the problem with women, and I could be wrong here, but it seems like when it comes to women in the dating life, women aren't teaching other women how to date either. They're teaching other women how to
get stuff.
Exactly. To stay ahead, to stay in control, stay in power, not to be...
Everybody's trying not to get hurt.
Exactly. Everyone's just trying not to get hurt.
I think that's kind of what it goes down to.
Everybody's trying not to get hurt. That's really what it boils down to. So let me put this car in front of you. Let me put this makeup in front of you. Let me try and get some money. Everything we do is desensitizing the actual relationship. So that way there's a clean detachment. I was just using you for money anyway. Bitch, I was just fucking you anyway. I was just doing this. I was just doing that. Well, really, we would have hoped it worked out. But our pride won't. Mm-hmm. Our pride won't let us.
Let me ask you that, though. Like, and double-edged sword, or be devil's advocate in this situation. Is that wrong? That the detachment, like, is being taught? Like, because some people actually genuinely want that.
Well, okay, what do you mean? I'm sorry.
So, like, is it just want to have... Some people just want to have fun before they decide to settle down. Like, is 100%. That... wrong, or do they have to from the get-go just be in like, you know, playoff mode, you know, like this is every game is real, like, let's go.
I wouldn't call just having fun a detachment though. I would put that in a separate thing.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
I think the detachment is from, well, if you're talking about the fun, the detachment is from a future, and it's not based on the person being bad, worthy or not. It's based off their own personal want of freedom and exploration, I guess, in that time in their life. So I think they're more attached to the living of their life at the moment, whereas they're just not looking for a consistent, committed partner. Whereas the detachment of, I'm actually secretly looking for a partner, but the way I'm going to approach looking for a partner is as if I'm not looking for a partner. Is the weird shit to me.
So
because I can be a guy, like, you know what I'm saying? I got money. I want to, right now where I'm at in my life, I want a girl. I want to have a one person that I can be consistent with.
You want a monogamous relationship.
But then if I approach every girl like, man, I'm just gonna try and fuck. I'm just trying to fuck. Then how am I gonna get to my goal? And so what I'm not changing my habits because I'll be vulnerable if I do. I'm not saying I personally do that, but I'm saying that's how somebody's thinking.
Yeah.
So that's where I go with your question, Doc.
But I feel like there's a difference between wanting to have fun and like dating for fun and dating for commitment.
Yeah, 100%.
And I feel like the problem sometimes is the people who date for fun is you get stuck in that.
But also the fun can teach you what you want to get committed to.
Say that again?
The fun can show you what you want to get committed to.
Completely. I completely agree. My point is that when I say sometimes you get stuck in that, maybe the better way to describe it is lost in that.
With you.
Is that's how you learn how to talk to women
100%.
or navigate around women. So when you finally decide to change it up and realize, okay, I had my fun, I realized my likes and dislikes. Let me actually now date with purpose and intent, proper intentions. Now when you're doing that, and honestly, I'm kind of in a way speaking from personal experience, is you realize, or not necessarily realize, but you're starting to pick the wrong women. Then when you coupled with picking the wrong women, you realize situations aren't working out as successful as they used to work out. And it's like, geez, what am I doing wrong? What's going on here? Blah, 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 blah. It's kind of, I guess, an ego check in a way.
100%. It's like a girl. It's like you trying to talk to a girl, right? You pull up in your Corolla. You trying to talk to her. You got a Corolla. You pull up to another girl. You got a Corolla. You talk to another girl. You got a Corolla. So you go get a Benz. And now you don't want to talk to no bitch that's okay with you driving a Corolla. Now you want the one that said, ew, you're driving a Corolla. You want to prove it to her. That to me is
weird.
Yeah, that person has ego issues.
Like you're small.
Do that shit. Yeah.
You're small. You're a small man.
The way I remember reading a dating coach or like a dating, I don't know, somebody who's specialized in this. The way they explained it, that I thought
funny that
was
people specialize.
Yeah. Well, she was like a psychologist, though. She wasn't just like,
okay.
I'm a personality.
I'm
like,
good at this dating
still funny.
shit.
Yeah, still funny to me. I'm sorry. Still funny.
She's like definitely like a couples counselor and stuff like that. But the way that she described it that I always thought was interesting was that people, when they separate fun from like the serious like, you know, relationship and stuff like that, is they tend to categorize them in what she called stories versus missions. And she's like, if I want a story, like, I'm just going to chase this person. I've always wanted to date this type of person, this type of thing, in this place or whatever. So they'll go chase the stories. But once they realize that the mission's the most important part, that's when they start looking for the person who's going to be able to come up into the mission with them and complete it. Whatever, like, the end goal game values are.
I agree with that. I actually do agree with that.
And so, like, that's when, like, the mind shift changes. And it's just kind of like, some people never leave stories. Some people only search for missions and only get stories. And it's just like, you gotta walk through the mud in life, I guess, to figure out what you get.
And so, yeah, I get you, because it's almost like some people do look for a partner as almost like, what will I get out of it? If everything else fails, it's almost like if this person is just a horrible person, everything else fails, or they have no personality, what would they still offer me? What would they still have to offer me?
The story.
And that's it.
Get fun, man.
And I guess my last question or point of discussion before we close it out, because already half. What?
If I divorce him, I'll get half.
That's a terrible mindset to have. But like I was saying, like,
how'd you get rich? I just divorced like 4 people and then just built a wealth.
I got married 4 different times. Gosh.
Yeah, it'd be terrible, man.
So I guess my question to y'all, and I guess it's also not necessarily a question to y'all too, but I guess the entirety of the community amongst men and women when it comes to dating is, aren't we dating with a purpose? Isn't that purpose supposed to be for marriage? And if that is the purpose, then aren't we trying to be proper husbands and wives, proper fathers and mothers? Because right now, with how the dating community is going or has been, none of us are good mothers. And well, I don't want to say that so negatively. Some of us aren't rising up to the caliber of a good husband, a good wife, or a good father, or a good mother. All of us are falling short.
I'll say this. We've been falling short for a long time. Our parents fell short. Our parents' fell short.
I'm tired of falling short.
I'm not saying that it's good, but based off what you just said, I actually,
Because what's the purpose of dating?
I don't think the purpose of dating anymore should be marriage.
Okay, interesting.
I think the purpose of dating should be happiness. I don't think there should be okay. I get what you're saying, but I think now the construct of marriage, I think we're big on roles now. And so because we've kind of got this thing in definite roles and definite, like, I need to be a good husband, I need to be a good wife based off what marriage says, this is that. Nobody's actually looking for the happiness that you're supposed to provide each other. Mm-hmm. And I feel like maybe that should be found first. Before. Okay. It's not that marriage shouldn't be part of it, but because of how society works now, that should be the actual main goal. Because once you have that, it'll be harder for anything to break your bond. It'll be harder for anything to come into your marriage if you do decide to get married.
Maybe because we've introduced more options in the dating pool, our not our choice, but our end goal has become not necessarily clouded, but we just got more options and it's hard to choose. Like, we're terrible at choosing. When we are given options, we don't know what we want to choose. We like to bounce back and forth. It's kind of like what Doc's saying when it comes to our sexual freedom. We want to figure out what we like before we actually make a decision. We want to be able to try all the flavors.
Mm-hmm. I think we actually pick based off
options, marriage or just like if you date. Usually the traditional way is married and kids. Mm-hmm. Now people just don't want to get married or they don't want to have kids. They just want that relationship or something like that. Exactly.
I think the difference.
So is that an issue? The fact that we have more options in the dating life?
I mean, we might be wandering. In the lost in the freedom, and that is a very real possibility. At that point, though, I think that person has to make the conscious decision to no longer wander through it and look for what they want if they know what they want.
Exactly, I completely agree.
I think to your earlier question is that like we should be good parents and stick together, and I actually disagree with that. The reason why I disagree with that is because I myself have a mother who's only chased stories ever since like there's her split with my father essentially, and there's no doubt in my mind that she was a terrible mother because of it, or a terrible parent because of it. Like, the woman held a family of 4 by herself with fucking like $14,000 a year, like as a payment for, you know what I mean, like as her salary for 30 years. And like we all love her dearly. We weren't abused. We were always taken care of and given everything we needed. And she wanted to date. She never wanted to settle back down again. She never felt like she needed another man to fill in that slot. Mm-hmm. So to me, like, I don't think you need somebody else there to be a good parent. I think you can do it on your own if you really want to, and you can also do it while chasing stories if you want to. It's going to be different than the norm, but it's still
going to be harder than the norm.
It's definitely harder.
Possible.
Like I'm sure for her, it was the hardest thing she's ever done.
It's possible, but it's hard. I agree to that.
Yeah.
I think people are looking for partners. I feel like the first thing we see when we look at a person is, if we're looking for commitment, is can I wake up to them every morning? Like, looks physically. Whereas
I'm past that, but I know what you mean.
I feel like the thing we should be looking for is not even if we agree on anything, can we speak on it?
Can we have a discussion?
Can we have a discussion about it?
Can we actually have an intense, heated discussion, a debate, and still want to go out to eat? Go to sleep together.
Be able to come to conclusions together. And I think sometimes that's really important.
Conclusion, still be okay with having that.
That's a conclusion. Like,
fair.
That's that's what I'm saying. Like, to just be able to operate in that space together, I think is actually more key.
Be able to sit in
than
silence
anything.
with each other without being uncomfortable. Yeah, completely
I think that's way more key than anything else, because if you build off of that, then you're always just gonna at least have a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
At the worst, you'll have a conversation.
And I feel like that is probably one of the biggest problems when it comes to men and women dating is men are avoiding conversation because they just want to fuck, and women are avoiding conversation
because they just want a buck.
Because they just want a buck. You know what? That's a hell of a point to end the podcast right there.
I wasn't going to say another word.
I think that's enough Fake Deep Thinking for today, guys. Make sure you check out our YouTube page at Fake Deep Thinking. Follow our Twitter page at Podcast FDT. Make sure you leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. See you next time on Fake Deep Thinking. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.